Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw.
Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. We are still on the MTG Foundation set, and we have a mono black commander that I think is very interesting. So let's get into it. We have Fumulus, the Infestation, for 4 mana, 3 colors of black, easy to cast. It's a 2/2 vampire insect. It is a legendary creature, a vampire insect. Already that is tempting vampire tribal, insect tribal. You know you are tempted to make that type of deck. But let's read the card some more. It has flying, death touch, okay? It's very evasive. It can block and kill things on any type of blocking or combat or attacking. That's cool. Second ability, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger on the screen, is whenever a player sacrifices a non-token creature, create a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. Whenever an insect, leech, slug, or worm you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This vampire insect is, I would like to say, inconspicuous. I feel like it can be built very powerful because of the sacrifice trigger. The reason why, when because you can pretty much make opponents sacrifice their non-token creatures, and generally these are creatures they want to keep on the battlefield, and you get to net 1 a black insect creature with flying. Then in turn, you can have what, sacrifice out, not sacrifice out, sacrifice payoffs or death triggers, or even attack with these insects because you're potentially going wide. And whenever you attack with 1, 2, 3, 4, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So there's a lot of potential here. It's kind of like, how fast can you build and make this vampire insect commander potent? But I will tell you this, he's really good in the 99 of other commanders. Let's talk about them first. Okay, let's talk about Toxrill. If you don't know this commander, he is the win con. He is game ending. He is 7 mana, a 7/7 slug horror that is devastating for your opponents. If this is your type of creature, play with him. Fumulus just pairs well with him very well. Uh, Honestly, what he really does, I'm going to summarize it, is he puts slime counters on your opponent's creatures. And these slime counters give your opponent's creatures -1, -1. And whenever those creatures die, you create slugs. Okay? What is devastating about this card is it attacks, it's slime counters on all your opponent's creatures. So if 2 1/1s die that first turn, you're getting 2 slugs. And this adds up really quick where you have a board state, a wide board state. Also attached for 2 mana, a blue and a black, and you sacrifice a slug to draw a card. So he's giving you card draw. Like this is a game ending card when you cast it. Okay, I got Zask, Skittering Swarmlord. I think he's very underrated because of his one ability. It's called Fire Breathing, which is a red mechanic where you get to pump up the power of a creature. I have to read this guy because he does a lot, sort of the Toxrill, but this is like a little bit more, I wouldn't say nuanced type of commander, right? Nuance. When I mean nuance, it's like he's on the battlefield. Opponents are not really eliminating him because they don't see the potential threats. But like the ramp, the self mill, he's just an engine to actually accelerate your game ending game plan. So he does. You may play lands and cast insect spells from your graveyard. Whenever another insect you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library, then mill 2 cards. Keyword. Okay, never mind. So then he taps for 2, a black and a green, and a colorless. Target insect gets +1/+0 and gains death touch until end of turn. The fact that you can give a creature death touch for 2 mana is pretty nasty. Like one of those 1/1 black insect flying creatures has death touch. Your opponents are not attacking you if they have flyers. And you can also use the fire breathing technique on Zask himself, swinging for commander damage. Yeah. What's really nasty is if you play Hearthstone, which is an artifact that reduces the cost of activated abilities by one, and essentially you could pay a black or a green and give Zask or any other insect +1/+0. Yeah, he's slick nasty. Next up, we have a very popular, powerful black staple. It is called Grave Pact. Grave Pact is for 4 mana, 3 black, and a colorless. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So essentially, whenever a creature you control dies, either through sacrificing, self-sacrificing, a death spell, death ability, you know, your opponents have to sacrifice a creature, and that is all of your opponents, not just one, all of them. So in turn, whenever you sacrifice or have one of your trigger creatures die, you're getting 3 insects. So one creature, 3 insects. One death trigger, 3 insects. The rate is incredible. Moving on. Okay, so we got It That Betrays. It is one of those famous Eldrazi. For 12 mana, it's an 11/11 Eldrazi creature. It has Annihilator 2. Whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 2 permanents. Essentially, you're forcing your opponents to sacrifice permanents. Not creatures, permanents. Permanents are creatures, sagas, lands, enchantments, planeswalkers, artifacts. However, it also says whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card on the battlefield under your control. So this is disgusting. Whenever it attacks, this is an attack trigger. Whenever it attacks, your opponent has to sacrifice 2 permanents, and essentially you get those 2 permanents. Easy as that. And you get to, if you pair it with Fumulus, you're getting potentially 2 insects. So I put in a Devouring Swarm as another sacrifice outlet. I think it's a really good card to have redundancy in your deck. Or if you're just tired of playing with the altars, where you sacrifice a creature, they mill a card, or you sacrifice a creature and you add mana. Like, cool, those are staples. They get kind of boring. However, Devouring Swarm is just a 2/1 insect flying, sacrifice a creature, it gets +1/+1. Not bad. Not bad. You can attack with it, you can block with it, and it's a sacrifice outlet, triggering potentially more insects you can play. So next up, we got Nazgul Battle Mace, 5 mana artifact equipment. This equipment says equipped creature has Menace, Death Touch, and Annihilator 1. Remember the Eldrazi? Annihilator 2. And whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control unless that player plays 3 life. Man, and it has a quick cost of 3. Honestly, this card is really disgusting because all you need to do is equip it to a creature and you do not have to attack. And it still triggers. Okay, so that way you can have Nazgul equipped to a creature and use a spell or an activated ability to force your opponents to sacrifice a creature, and you potentially get that creature onto the side of your battlefield unless they pay 3 life. And you get to make insect tokens if you have Fumulus paired with it. See the synergy here, guys? Yeah. So thank you for watching this video. This is from the MTG Foundations Jumpstart set. If you want me to make a deck tech on any of those commanders, just let me know in the comments below. And also feel free to let me know what you think about the entire EDH process and this mono black commander. Hey, we're here to share information and just build a community. Peace.